Hi, in this lesson, which is the first portion of the lesson, How to Paint with Charcoal. Hi, in this lesson, which is the first portion of the lesson, How to Use a Charcoal Drawing to Help You Paint, we're going to create a charcoal drawing. And I'm also going to share with you ways in how I use mixed media. I'm Katie, and what you're going to need for this lesson is some vine charcoal. I like the fat ones, and I also have some skinny ones, which I'll probably use as well. So a variety of sizes in the vine charcoal, and maybe some harder charcoal to get some nice blacks, and a kneaded eraser. I tried one eraser that I wasn't crazy about, and the kneaded eraser is probably my favorite when using charcoal. So let's get started. Okay, so here is my final painting. As you can see, there's collage with it and some pastel. And I've called her Daisy Earring. Okay, so here's Jessica. And I have gridded her off, and I guess you could say quarters, both vertically and horizontally. Keep her up either on your monitor or print it out as she is 6x8 or in the ratio of 6x8 as your drawing should also be. I am using an 18 by 24 inch piece of 100-pound Bristol drawing paper. Don't skimp on your paper for this lesson. Use some nice drawing paper, preferably 100-pound, anything that can stand up to erasing. Plus it just gives a nice quality to your drawing. I have gridded this piece of paper off with tick marks. I have put marks along the edges as well as where the lines intersect. And of course, this corresponds to the lines on the reference photo. Before you begin, take a look at the photo, just study her for a little bit, see what her features are doing, see where the dark values are, the lighter values, and just get an idea of what she looks like. And then just start by putting in the basic outlines, finding where the ear reaches the jawline, the neckline reaches the jawline, and use these grid marks and the tick marks to really help you find the correct location of the shoulder, where certain things meet the edge of the page, and just take a look, constantly looking at the reference photo as you're drawing, and you're using the tip of the charcoal obviously to make a line, just to give you some basis of that foundation work. And just continue in this manner, nothing definite, anything is changeable. So right now you're just looking to do, I guess you could say, a contour drawing. We're searching where certain elements meet up and intersect, how some features may line up with one another, and continually look at the reference photo. Your marks are going to be light but dark enough so that you can see them or that they don't rub off easily. Take your time, don't rush it. When you get to the facial features, don't get caught up in detail, don't get tight, just do the simple lines. This is the very beginning of the drawing, so we're just looking for placement, nothing more. Don't get caught up in one area. Keep moving throughout the entire page, throughout the entire figure. Be aware of angles and always be aware of the grid. I am using about a 2-inch piece of vine charcoal, just using the edge. It's very soft. It goes on easily, it wipes off easily. Notating some of the darks in her facial features, but still keeping it quick and simple, not getting hung up on any particular area, and always looking at the reference. I'm putting in this background shelf and box just to give her some placement, and it's nice to have something solid and significant going on in the background when you're doing a portrait. It just adds to the composition, makes it more interesting. When I feel that I have enough information down as far as placement of things, I'm going to go in with the flatter side of my vine charcoal and start adding in the darks. Constantly looking at the reference photo and seeing where the darks are, and obviously they're to the left side of her mostly. Again, still just keeping it loose, kind of open. There's no mistakes happening here. Just keep moving through it. Charcoal is wonderful. It's so forgiving and fun. So don't feel that anything you're doing is wrong or that you've made a mistake, because that's not going to be the case. Just keep looking at the reference photo, and if you need to at times, stand back, look at it. But again, this is still very beginning part of the drawing, so it almost has to look bad before it can look good. And just have the confidence that in the end it's going to be your drawing, and anything that you come up with is going to be great. The only thing that I really think you need to discipline yourself on is being aware of the grid and really having a keen eye for the different values, the lights and darks, and all the different shades of gray in between the darkest dark and the lightest light. And this is going to come from really looking at the reference photo and seeing where all those different values are. Value is really what does all the work in a painting or a drawing, especially a charcoal drawing. It's really all about value. So the more you train your eye to see all the different values, all the nuances in value, the more interesting your drawing is going to be, or exciting it's going to be. And again, just keep working through the drawing, keep it moving. It doesn't have to be a work of beauty, but it's maybe a work of interest and a work of authenticity. So don't worry about it being wonderful. Just make sure it's who you are. keep it authentic to you. So besides staying true to the grid as much as possible and being very aware of the values, keep moving through the drawing. Don't get hung up in one area. Those are probably basically the three most important things to remember as you're working through this drawing. Here I've picked up a new eraser that I have bought, and I work with this for a little bit, trying to see what it can do. And after a few minutes I realize I am not particularly loving it too much. And it's not long before I go back to my kneaded eraser. This is one of the things that's just great about charcoal. You put it on and then you can take it off. And now I'm just, well, when I get my kneaded eraser out, I'll really be able to go back in and start picking out highlights, just moving the charcoal around a little bit, creating different values while smudging, rubbing. I'm looking for the lightest lights and trying to bring them out. Left side of the face is a little darker, so not quite as light as the right side of her face would be. I've picked up a smaller piece of vine charcoal, not as fat as the one I was using before. This gives me a little bit more control in the finer details of her facial features, a little bit more of a point to it. Always adding charcoal and then taking away some with the eraser or with my finger. Maybe finding some darker values within the dark values themselves. There's always going to be different values within a dark value. working that darker side of her face. This is another thing you might want to make sure you see and do is make sure the left side of her face is significantly darker in value than the right side of her face. Softening edges or values with your finger as you go. If you've never worked with a kneaded eraser before, I'd recommend getting one. And as you work, you clean it by pulling it and kneading it, and so you see me doing that every now and then. I'll clean the eraser after I've used a little bit by kneading it. As more information gets put down, my marks get smaller, both with the charcoal and the eraser. And I also tend to slow down a little bit more as I start to finish it up. so that is it for this portion of the lesson, and up next is how we're going to use that drawing to help us create our painting. And the painting is going to be created in a very tonal way, just like our drawing was. So until then.